Hello, Python Padawans. My name is Gary McFall, and I'm the instructor for CS177. And this is an introduction to the course that I'm so excited for you to experience and get started in. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get things going. As I said, this is CS177 programming with multimedia objects. And today we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of programming. This semester, we'll be talking about the fundamentals of programming and the scientific and interdisciplinary nature of computer science. I want you to have the experience of developing your own programs, of controlling what the computer does, of making that logical decisions for what happens next. It's an amazing feeling when you work on something that will not function correctly for so many attempts, and then all of a sudden it starts to work just exactly how you intended it to work. And I want you to feel that that sense of accomplishment. So we want to look at the interdisciplinary nature of computer science, but also the scientific element of it, and we'll demonstrate the breadth of the field of computer science through your experiences in writing software and creating on your own. Again, my name is Gary McFall. My email is gmcfall@purdue.edu. Phone number and office are here. Although, to be honest with you, this course, you'd be a lot more likely to get a hold of me on our discussion board or via email. Well, because this course is pretty much taught through an online interface. Help hours are provided through Piazza, our discussion board, and we'll talk more about Piazza today as we go along through the material. There are 5 graduate TAs helping with this course. They'll be responsible for help hours every week, grading exams and project submissions, and generally helping guide you through the class. Their names and addresses and things are all posted on Brightspace and in your syllabus, and you want to get familiar with your TA. If you're in the face-to-face sections and you're going to recitations during the week, we'll talk more about the schedule here in a little bit, then you'll meet your graduate TA. If you're in an online-only section, then you'll be introduced to your TA in that format, in an online format. There are help hours on a regular basis every week on our discussion board, Piazza. You can also schedule them using something like Zoom or CodeShare, so you can talk face-to-face with the TA and get some assistance. And of course, you can email course staff to ask for assistance that way as well. On Brightspace, you'll find 99.9% of your course resources, although you'll find that there is a printed course handbook. If you have not ordered or found a copy of the printed course handbook, you need to do that. Everything you need to do well in this class is in that handbook. They should be available the first week of class through your bookstores. And if you are remote, the bookstores will ship one to you. But get a copy of that along with the textbook, which we'll discuss here in a few minutes. If there's any sort of emergency or change to the plan, that will be on an email and our discussion board first. There are weekly announcements that we'll put out just on a very regular basis, sometimes twice a week with the regular course announcements. And you'll also find those things on Piazza discussion board and on Brightspace. So you don't need to email us and ask us what's happening. We will be probably the first ones to contact you to let you know exactly what's going on with the course, if there's any sort of emergency or change, any drastic modification to the way the class is going to be delivered, or whatever's happening in our semester. The primary textbook for the class is Python Programming, which is an introductory computer science course book. It is specifically written by John Zell. You'll hear us refer to Zell or the Zell textbook on a regular basis this semester. This is the book we're talking about. Now, this image says second edition. You actually want to find the third edition. The words third edition will be right up here at the top. You want the third edition of the textbook. It does look just like this, though, however, except it says third edition at the top. You want the third edition of the textbook. It's got some amazing updates, and it is something like 6 or 7 years newer than the second. You do not want to go download some PDF off the internet with the textbook content in it. Almost always, that is a completely out-of-date version of the book. That's number one. Number two, that's stealing. Don't steal Mr. Zell's work. Go buy a copy. You can rent this textbook for around $15 or $18 for the semester. You can find a used copy of it for about $18 to $20. A brand new copy is something like $35 or $40. It's not an expensive textbook. You absolutely want a copy of it. I have a very dog-eared copy here. This is my 3rd edition, and this is what I use on a regular basis as a reference as I go through and teach the class. Get that textbook. You also want the course handbook, the CS177 course handbook. And that is, as I said, available from the bookstores around the first week of the semester. And that has everything in it. You absolutely want a copy of that. And I believe that one's around $15 to $18. It shouldn't be too much. All right. And we'll have some additional material on Brightspace. Every week, you're going to complete some homework on a website tool called CodeLab. CodeLab is a web-based resource that helps you practice your programming. When you first set up your CodeLab account, which you'll do in the Getting Started assignment, you'll be able to complete, I think, about 10 assignments, maybe, or 15, before it asks you to purchase a license. Purchase the license. So we've now talked about the only 3 things that you have to actually buy for this class. The Zell textbook, you want this one, purchase one of these, the course handbook, and a copy for CodeLab. I think the total expenditures for this class should be in the $40 to $60 range. You shouldn't have to spend much more than that, but you definitely want to purchase this CodeLab license. This is an easy to use a tool that allows you to get immediate feedback when you test your programming. And you'll register online with the instructions that are in the very first Getting Started assignment. If we take a look here at CodeLab, this is CodeLab. When you first go in, you'll find that everything's organized by homework assignment. And when you get in here and look at one of the assignments, you click on the number and it'll give you an instruction that says to find 2 variables, assigning 3.5 to one called length and 1.55 to one called width. The assignment is basically to just type in these values. So we're assigning 3.5 to length and width is 5.5. How do you know how to do this? Well, you'll learn how to do this as you look through the lecture materials, like the slides, like the videos that we're talking about here, or in your Zell textbook and in your notes packet, the course handbook for the class. So if I hit submit, it's going to tell me, oh, I've made a mistake somehow. So what are my values supposed to be? I'll go back and look again. This says length should be 3.5 and 1.55 to width, and I did the wrong number here, 1.55 to width. So I'll hit submit. Ha, now it tells me I've done a great job. So this is a practice tool. There are anywhere from 16 to 25 or 29 individual little programming exercises to do every single week in this one, and they are organized by title for each of those homework assignments. So you want to definitely set up your CodeLab license and you're going to be doing homework. Your very first CodeLab homework, by the way, is due this week, the very first week of class, by Wednesday night. So Wednesday is, I believe, August 26th. By 11:59 p.m., you've got your first homework, homework 1-1, that you want to work your way through. Make sure that you get that CodeLab account set up and get that first homework done as soon as you can so you can get some practice and get started on the homework. You're also going to be writing programs in Python programming language using what's called the idle interface. This is a color-coded text editor which allows you to write computer programs. In this case, you'll see here this color-coded editor here down here on the right. It allows you to write programs and then execute them. When you run them, the results you'll see here in the interactive window. So we're going to talk a little more in another lecture about how this interactive window and the editing window work. But this is a free version of Python that's available online. And in your Getting Started assignment, you'll actually set that up and get it going on your own computer. Now, if you're working on campus, if you are physically on campus and you're on a campus, a Purdue-owned computer, this is already installed. But if you want to work on your own computer, and most, if not all of you will be doing some work on your own computers, you need to install the Python interface, including idle. And that's a part of the getting started assignment that you need to finish this week as you get things rolling for the semester. It is available for all computer operating systems, Macintosh, Windows, even if you're running Linux or Unix, it's that as well. And so you want to get that installed so that you can get these assignments done. So over the course of the semester, there's many different types of assignments that are going to be completed, starting with some quizzes and participation assignments, whether they're on Piazza or Brightspace quizzes. Those total for the course about 5% of your semester grade. Well, not about 5%, exactly 5%. There's also homework assignments in CodeLab. Those are 10%. Each week, there's a programming exercise you'll complete. You'll submit that through Brightspace. All of those programming exercises for the semester represent 5% of your grade. Lab assignments are 20%. There's a little longer programming assignment once a week. Those are always due on Monday. In fact, your very first one is due Monday, August 31st, and that is lab assignment 1-1, so module 1, unit 1. Those are all worth 20% of your semester grade. There is an overall semester project that has 4 milestones or 4 parts. Parts 1 through 3 collectively are worth 25% of your semester grade, and there's a final milestone at the end of the semester that is a capstone assignment. That's 10% of your semester grade. And there are 3 live programming exams that represent 25% of your semester grade as well. If you add all these up, you'll get 100%. And the grades for the course are on a straight 90, 80, 70 scale. So as we go through the course this semester, you will be able to kind of see where you are on each of these categories. And then based on their weight, you'll be able to tell where you are for the semester. And it'll be very helpful as you go along to have some sort of tool to allow you to do that. And in fact, one of our assignments this semester is to create a tool that allows you to plug in all of your overall percentages for each of these categories, and it'll tell you your semester grade. And you're going to actually write that tool in Python so that you can see your grade as you go. All right, so how do we succeed in the class? Number one, you need to pay very close attention to the schedule of assignments. This is posted in Brightspace. It's a part of the Brightspace calendar. It's also in your course handbook. It is posted on Brightspace as a separate document that you might print and actually have handy. It's the identical document that's in your course handbook, though. You need to keep up with that course schedule of assignments because we have so many things going on this semester that they just cannot accept any late work at all. It's okay if you have to turn in an assignment that's partially done. You'll get partial credit, so make sure you turn in your work as you go. You want to participate in the discussion activities, and there are several of those on Piazza. Don't skip them. They're not designed to be programming exercises. They're not designed to be complicated. There's just an opportunity for you to talk about whatever topic we're covering right now so that you can participate in the class. So get in there and follow those discussion activities and pay attention to them and participate in them. Be ready to complete assignments on time. So set aside time in your weekly schedule that you know you can work on assignments and start them early. Don't ever start assignments at the last second. You won't have enough time. You want to start assignments early. Now we're going to be interacting online a lot this semester. Whether you're in the online class or the hybrid flex mode class, you need to make sure that we're polite. It is difficult sometimes to understand someone's intent when they're communicating in an electronic format, right? You don't get body language, you don't get facial expressions, you don't get any of those things. If we're on campus interacting with each other, the instructor may have a mask on. You may not totally get their body language just from either a text message, an email, Piazza post, or even in class if you're face-to-face. So be polite. Assume that others are communicating with you in a polite manner. Don't make assumptions. And if you get an email from me and it sounds like I'm angry, I'm not, I can assure you. I don't get angry about teaching. In fact, I only get excited and happy to teach. So we'll behave professionally, and it's a two-way street because I'll make the same assumptions about you, and we all will, so that we can get through this class and make sure you have the best experience you can. And something that's very important is that you follow the academic integrity policies of this class and of the university at all times. You know, every student in this class, and there are nearly 300 of you, are going to be solving the same problems every week. It is important that what you submit is your work, not a copy of someone else's work. There is not one answer to the problems that we give you to solve. In fact, there are an infinite number of answers, and we want your answer. So be very careful to follow the academic integrity policies because it's just something we need to make sure that you do at all times. In discussing those academic integrity policies, we want to make sure that the work you submit is your own. You follow the Purdue Honor Code, the honor pledge that you signed when you started here at the university. We understand that you may study and prepare, maybe online with friends, and that's fine, but sharing your work is not okay. You definitely should never present someone else's work as your own, and in fact, you should never share your work with another student ever. Some students will think that they're maybe hiring a tutor or having somebody help them. When you hire a tutor or have someone help you in solving these problems, you're turning in your tutor's work, not your own work. You're turning in your helper's work, not your own work. You must solve these assignments on your own. If you need help, we provide you with 30 to 40 hours a week of support online. You can get face-to-face connections with Zoom. You're going to be, those of you that are on campus, you're going to be in recitation and lab every week. You have an opportunity to talk with a course staff member about what you're working on and to ask questions. Take advantage of those opportunities. For those of you that are online, you have additional opportunities to chat with an instructor, a teaching assistant, someone to talk with them about what you're working on and the problems that you're experiencing. Take advantage of those opportunities, but do not work with another person in solving your assignments because this is, well, it's cheating. Don't do that. All right, let's stick to the academic integrity policies of the university and of the course and only submit our own work. It's important because if you violate the policies of the class, you're going to receive a failing grade in the class. And it's tough to talk about. It's not something that I like to talk about. In fact, it's the part of this job that I like the least. And I don't like it at all. But I do need to make sure that the work you submit is your own. So I can't reinforce this enough. Do not work with other people when you work on these assignments. And don't share your work with someone else. All right, let's move on. Homework every week is going to be in Code Lab. It represents 10% of your grade. There's a lot of repetition. There's a lot of individual code. We call them snippets, small pieces of code that you're going to write, and they must be completed on time to receive credit. So if there are 15 exercises in a homework assignment and you get 13 done on time, you'll get credit for 13 assignments. I would go ahead and finish the rest because that's an opportunity for you to practice your programming skills, but you will get credit for what you finish on time. Then every week there are programming exercises. These are short coding challenges on Brightspace that represent 5% of your semester grade. They give you a chance just to practice your skills a little more than what Code Lab asks you to do, but not like a full lab assignment. And again, they must be submitted to Brightspace on time. Every week, there's some new course material. The first assignments start this week, the very first week of class. The first things are due Tuesday. There's a quiz over, for example, this lecture video and the other 2 lecture videos for the week. Make sure you take a look at the schedule of assignments that's posted on Brightspace. When you get your course handbook, if you post it in there. Also on Brightspace itself, the Brightspace calendar for the class shows everything and when it's due. So make sure you get your first assignments going. There will be these lecture videos like this one on Brightspace for every module and unit. and help hours on Piazza that will start a little later this week and next week, the first 2 weeks of the semester, to handle your questions. Make sure you complete all the assignments on your own. And if there's a due date, if it says it's due on Tuesday or Monday, it's always at 11:59 p.m. Now that is Purdue Eastern time, Eastern U.S. time. So if you live in a different time zone, if you're doing this course online, it's not 11:59 p.m. your time. It's 11:59 p.m. Purdue time. We'll just call it Purdue time because that's effectively what it is at this point. Any partial work you submit will get partial credit, so you must submit whatever you have by the deadline, even if it's not completely done. Go ahead and get it submitted. The TAs will give you feedback on your submissions, and you can figure out what you might have done to do it better. Make sure we follow the academic integrity policies and the Purdue University Honor Code at all times, and make sure that you know that the work you submit is your work. So our participation assignments like the discussion board and quizzes, these are all opportunities for you to learn something related to the course. So make sure that you take advantage of these important elements in the class. If you miss these assignments, even the participation assignments, it reduces your overall semester score. And yeah, that's important, but it's also reducing your opportunity to learn the material. So make sure you keep up with participation. Our discussion board participation assignments is where you actually do our interactive one-on-one participation. This is important regardless of which version of the class you're taking, online or our hybrid flex face-to-face courses. We're going to post questions there. You'll have answers. You can post your own questions. We'll distribute some course information there, and there's some periodic participation topics. You'll receive an email, if you haven't already, inviting you to get your account set up on Piazza. It's free. Take advantage of it. This is where you're going to primarily communicate with the course staff over the semester. Again, we have these lab assignments every week. Those are always due, by the way, on Mondays. So your first lab assignment, Lab 1-1, it's due Monday the 31st. And you want to get that submitted by the due date. So that'll be 11:59 p.m. Purdue time on Monday the 31st. And make sure that you start early enough to get those done. There is, by the way, help hours available over the weekend. So over each weekend, you'll have some help hours available as well if you need them. The exams this semester are what we call live coding exams. You're going to be asked to solve a programming problem, which you will then write the program and test it, and then submit your program to be graded. There are 3 of them to be given during the semester. They are not given in class. They are an online live coding exam. So you'll be taking them at your schedule. So while they are due on a certain day of the week, it is important that you understand that they're due that day, but they're available for 48 hours. So you have basically a 3-hour window to complete the exam. Once you get started, you have 3 hours, but you can start anytime within this 48-hour window as long as you submit by the end of the window. So it's very flexible. You get plenty of time to complete your exam assignment. Just make sure you complete it within that 2-day window. And there are practice exams available in the course handbook so that you can be ready for the tests. Quizzes and participation assignments are due on a regular basis. Brightspace quizzes, discussion topics on Piazza, and these are always open book and open notes, but you do need to complete them on time. All right, so here's the big question. How do you get an A in this class? First, make sure you complete all the work. Don't fall behind on the work. Don't start at the last minute. Get started early, get things done a little early, and work ahead if you can. And as it's closer to the deadline, make sure you make your submissions. Keep up on the material and the assignments, and well, as I said, don't rush. Start early. If you need help, ask. There are no dumb questions. There are no questions that you shouldn't ask. You should ask if you have questions. If the answer is too close to just solving the problem for you, we'll tell you that, but we'll guide you towards the answer. It's something that I work very hard with the teaching assistants, both undergrad and graduate teaching assistants. It's something I work very hard with them on, is to learn how to guide you to the answer as best as possible. And then you can then rely on yourself to solve that same sort of problem next time. Communicate. If you have something that's wrong, if there's something happening and you can't control it, if you feel overwhelmed, talk to me. Talk to me. Send me an email. Tell me what's happening. There are several hundred of you in the class, but I will take the time to help you the best I can. Even if that's just to give you guidance on where to go to get more help. I will help you. So communicate with me. If you're uncomfortable communicating with me, communicate with your TA, either your undergrad or graduate TA. We will help you the best we can. And make sure you're ready for exams. So those project assignments, the project milestones, those are the #1 way to prepare for the exam. Because if you can solve the project milestone, you could definitely solve the exam. So take the time to complete those projects. There are those exam review assignments that are in the course handbook. They're not for credit, but they're definitely for a practice opportunity for you to make sure you get ready. Do those. Pay attention to them because they're going to help you as you prepare. All right, all of the lecture materials will be available as videos, in each module and unit, like this video right here. Each one has an associated quiz. So there's a quiz associated with this video that you're watching right now. Each quiz is like 3 or 4 questions. They're not designed to be challenging. They just check to see that you've gone through the material. You can always have the video open or have your course handbook handy as you go through the quizzes to get full credit. And by the way, you can take those quizzes as many times as you like. So if you take that quiz and you don't get all the answers correct, take it again and get full credit on it. Each week, complete the material in order. First, start by watching the videos and reading the textbook, the associated sections in the textbook. Then take the quiz for each video. Then complete those corresponding assignments. So if you're watching the videos in Module 1, Unit 1, so 1-1, then take the 1-1 quizzes, complete the 1-1 homework, the 1-1 programming exercise, and Lab 1-1. There's all kind of associated material for each week's content. So follow along. Periodically, we'll have these review assignments like project milestones or an exam, and then we'll start that process over again. So pay attention to those dates for the assignments and keep up on what's due next. All right, so that's it for this course introduction. I appreciate your time, and I really do look forward to experiencing this course with you this semester. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.